Whenever new Star Wars books come out, I usually put together a list of new fun facts and references to other stories. The Clone Wars Stories of Light and Dark is kind of unique, though. It's a retelling of existing episodes of the Clone Wars series, so there aren't a ton of new revelations. But there are some, and there are some interesting new character details, so that's what I'll be covering today. The first story is a retelling of the very first episode of Season 1. Yoda's inner thoughts reveal that he has not given up hope for Count Dooku, at least at the start of the war. He believes his old Padawan could still be turned back to the light side, which would bring a swift end to the fighting. Yoda also recalls skipping across lily pads in the Jedi Temple's meditation pond when he was a youngling, so just imagine an even tinier Yoda playing in a pond. You're welcome. Yoda also notes that the 3 clones that accompany him to Ragosa all have a natural and intense urge to obey orders. Not only that, but he recognizes that they basically feel like children in the Force, since they are technically only 10 years old. He knows that each clone is unique in the Force, and that their experiences as they grow will give them even more individuality, but they all share that desire to obey and be good soldiers. At the end of the story, Yoda senses all 3 of the clones' futures. He sees Jek receive the command for Order 66, and he sees Thyrs searching for him after his fight with Palpatine on Coruscant. Of course, Yoda doesn't know what he's seeing, but it's pretty chilling thinking about everything that Yoda sensed and yet, I guess, didn't have time to follow up on. Moving on to the second story, it's about Dooku retelling the events of the Dooku Captured arc. We learn how Anakin first came to be captured by the Sith Lord, as seen at the start of the arc's first episode. His starfighter was set out as bait, damaged and disabled at an ice field where Dooku could easily find him. Dooku recalls training Rael Averross, who was introduced in the book Master and Apprentice, and these are the kinds of connections I really appreciate from a book like this. We might be retelling stories, but now we have even more history for a lot of these characters that can be tied in. Moving on to the Hostage Crisis episode story, in that episode we know that Anakin has been sent on a meditative retreat by the Jedi Council, but we learn that the reason for it is because the Council sensed that he was uneasy and distracted. What they don't know is he feels that way because of the thwarted assassination attempt on Padme that takes place in the Season 3 episode Assassin not long before. Hostage Crisis was our first time meeting Cad Bane in the series, but chronologically, Anakin first met him when the bounty hunter tried to eject Ahsoka into space. So now the story gets to tie that in and show off the grudge he obviously still holds against the Duros. In a retelling of the episode Pursuit of Peace, Padme says one of the bounty hunters chasing her smells like the Leonorm Swamp. That's the same location where Jar Jar Binks first met Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan in The Phantom Menace. The Cad Bane story is pretty fun. He recounts the events of the attempted kidnapping of Palpatine from Naboo to Boba Fett and Bossk after he is returned to Republic prison. While it's easy to assume that's where he'd wind up, it's good to see. We also learn that Boba Fett and Bossk were at least supposed to be paid for creating the prison riot which allowed Cad Bane to escape in the first place. Bane notes that any test hidden inside the box would be as fair as playing sabacc with a Sicorian. Lando Calrissian is Sicorian, so I guess he's one of many great sabacc players from his homeworld. Jumping into Asajj's story, it's about her first job as a bounty hunter working with Boba Fett. She claims someone smells like a fathier stable. Like Averross, I just like seeing newer additions to Star Wars being mentioned in technically older stories. While on Tatooine, Ventress worries that Jabba will hear she is nearby. She doesn't want his attention after her role in the kidnapping of Rada. I was hoping Maul's story might give us more details about how he came to be on Lotho Minor, but he conveniently says he doesn't remember. Ahsoka's story is told from the point of view of Katuni, one of the younglings. We learn that Ahsoka is somewhat of a legend to younglings as such a young Padawan who's been on so many adventures. Obi-Wan's story is about his attempted rescue of Satine. He says that she once told him Mandalore had been a lush world of forests and jewel-colored lakes before war had turned it into a desert. And that's everything I caught in the Clone Wars, Stories of Light and Dark. If you're interested in reading it for yourself, you can pick it up for free on Audible by clicking on the link in the description or by going to www.audibletrial.com/Star Wars Explained. The audiobook is out right now, and the production value on all the Star Wars audiobooks is very high with sound effects and music. It's like listening to a movie. Signing up for an Audible trial will get you a credit for one free audiobook, and you can use it on Stories of Light and Dark or just about any Star Wars book you can think of. Or get any book you want. The point is, you get a free book, and you'll be supporting the channel when you do. But that's it for today. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.